think people prefer to buy puppies rather than adopt from shelters because they think it's going to be easier. They think they've got a clean slate, a fresh start, and they can bring the dog up exactly how they want to.
It's not always 100% that they'll know where they've come from, and they take a lot more training because they've got to start again, depending on how old the dog is.
I think it takes a lot more guts to rescue a dog than to buy one because of that unknown quantity.
Yeah. My name is Adam Woodward, I'm 35 years old and I've been working at Animal Lifeline for just over 9 years. Well, my job here at Animal Lifeline is all about looking after the dogs. We have stray dogs come in, we have dogs from people that can't look after them anymore for a variety of reasons. So it's generally just making sure that they're looked after, they're healthy, and we just take care of them. I think what made me want to work with dogs was, I've always had dogs. My mum and dad got a dog when I was 5 years old. I've always been around dogs, so I had a passion for dogs from a young age. So I think it's partly passion and partly opportunity because my parents came here as managers not long before I started working here, and then when a position came up, I said if they wanted me to come work with them, I would do. One of the dogs I work with is a dog named China. He's a husky cross Malamute. He's been here just over 3 years, I think.
China come from somebody who got him and then they decided he was too much for them, he was too powerful, so they ended up having to give him up.
He's a good dog. He's relatively good with other dogs. I think he's better with other dogs off lead than he is on lead. I think he gets a little bit excitable on lead when other dogs are around. He goes in fields and runs around with 2 other dogs, Bandit and Storm, 2 more huskies. And they've been in the field today for an hour and a half, I think, so far. They're still in the field now. He's friendly with people, and a number of people that come up the kennels walking. We've got a volunteer that comes up and takes him out for big walks so he can get plenty of exercise. He's fine to feed, there's no issues feeding him, he's not food aggressive. He's just a typical husky, really. Towards the end of last year I was reading an article online about why more and more people are buying huskies. It was a Game of Thrones theory that more and more people are watching Game of Thrones. It's a popular show and they have something on there called direwolves that look a lot like huskies. And then it's kind of monkey see, monkey do. They see these dogs, these wolves, and they want a similar dog and they don't quite understand what they're taking on. And that's why more and more people bought huskies, realised that they were dogs that they couldn't handle, and that's why they ended up in places like this. Before 3 years ago we didn't really have huskies in here, and then in the past 3 years we've had 7 or 8. We've managed to rehome a few. We've still got about 6 in the kennels at the moment. People don't quite know what they're getting into if they have a husky. They're very high energy dogs, they need a lot of exercise. If they don't get a lot of exercise, I think they'll get bored. And then if you're going out and going to work, leaving them at home, then if you're not exercising them and walking them enough, then you could come home and have your sofa chewed or your wallpaper pulled off. But as a rule, I think all the huskies we have in here, they seem really friendly dogs. They seem like if you're an active person, somebody that likes to be outdoors, do a lot of walking, they'd be an ideal dog for that kind of person.
I think so many animals are subject to cruelty and neglect because people get them without knowledge of the animal itself. They just get them because they see that celebrities have got them, they're a fashion item, and then after so long they decide they don't want them anymore. It's a big commitment, people don't want the commitment. Also, people get them for security reasons and then they train to be overprotective and it can turn badly that way.
We've got a dog here named Sid. He's a Staffordshire Bull cross. He's crossed with an English bull. He's been with us roughly 9 years. When he came to us, he came via the police. The police brought him into us. It was part of a drugs raid. The police did a drugs raid on this house, and he was a dog that was owned by the people in the house. They arrested all the people, and they needed somewhere for the dog to go, so they got in touch with us, and we had a space that we could put him in. So we took the dog off the police, and unfortunately he's been with us ever since. Nobody's ever rehomed him. He's a very excitable dog. You know, when we take him out for walks, we tend to take him with a toy because he's what we call a lead chewer. He likes to chew his lead, so as soon as you get him out for taking for a walk, he gets that excited, he's jumping up and he wants to chew his lead. I mean, he's a friendly dog. He loves having his fusses off people. He gets on with other dogs, some other dogs. He had a dog that we walked in with and he went in the fields with for years. Unfortunately, we lost her last year. So he kind of gets walked in the fields on his own at the moment, but you know, he's got on with other dogs, he's fine to feed. He's just, people tend to come to kennels with the idea that they don't want to take on a Staffy or a Staffy cross dog. So he's been with us for 9 years. Staffies in general, I think they're wonderful dogs. I mean, they were bred as nanny dogs, they were bred to be around children. They've got a bad reputation at the minute because I think the wrong kind of people have them. They tend to be bought by young lads. They think they're an icon dog. They think they look tough when they're walking around with these dogs and try to make them more aggressive than they should be, so, you know, they don't treat them right from the get-go, and then when they grow up and be the tough dog that they wanted them to be, they don't want them anymore. A lot of shelters say that they will never put a healthy dog to sleep, but they class aggression as an unhealthy dog. We won't put any dog to sleep unless it's for a medical reason, so if we get aggressive dogs that come in, we do everything we can to work with them. But the downside of that is eventually we might have dogs that have been here for a long time that get ill, and it comes to that time when you do have to have them put to sleep. We always make sure there's somebody there with them when we take them to the vets, and I've done it quite a few times in the 9 years that I've been here, and it's not nice. I mean, you do it, it's upsetting, it's like losing your own dog, and then you have to come back, carry on doing your job. I think the most passionate emotion I feel is happiness. I think, you know, you can't be around these dogs and not feel happy. When I get here in the morning, I have to walk past pretty much all of them before I can go and start my job. All of them are excited to see you. I get to work with dogs that other people haven't appreciated. I get to look after them, I get to see the good side of them that other people gave up on. I think it's a really fulfilling job.
So we've got April Fair coming up. We hold 2 or 3 fairs a year. They're a fundraising event, so because we rely heavily on donations, it just brings in more for the dogs so that we can carry on caring for them.
Basically what we do is we ask people to come back, bring the dogs that they've rehomed from us. We set up stalls, raffles, cake stalls, tea stalls. It's a way to raise money and just give the kennels a bit more recognition, get more people coming to the kennels looking at the dogs that need rehoming.
A lot of the supporters are people that come and support us all the time, but they also bring new people in that don't know about us. So it also passes the message round to people that haven't got a dog when they see how well behaved a rescue dog can be. it encourages them to think about having one as well. But we've had a great afternoon, nearly as many dogs as people.
Yeah.
Which was nice, because
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. So all about the dogs.
I think that dogs are very important to humans. Knowing that you've got something there at the end of the day when you go home from work, they're very loyal and caring, and it's like a friend that you can always rely on.
Life just seems a bit funny without dogs. You get funny looks going for walks along the canal without the dog. At least you've got an excuse to go from one pub to the next if you're carrying a dog with you.
For thousands of years, dogs and people, they've gone hand in hand, and there's a reason for that. I just think that they belong together.
Today I'm collecting Bella and Benji. They are brothers and sisters, and I didn't want them split up. So there was an open day here, so I merely came up to give support, give a donation, some financial contribution, saw them and just totally fell in love with them and just thought, no, absolutely not. Adopt for me is because dogs do get bought, and they get bought with all the right intentions, but the majority of the dogs that get bought end up here. Whereas the dogs that get adopted end up in a home and don't ever come back here. So that's my intention, give two of them just a lovely little home and just hopefully a really nice, enjoyable life.